Phillips here with Pure Solar and Electrical on the Empower Prep Unplugged podcast. And today we are actually going to be talking about the differences between battery chemistries. So when you're, looking at purchasing battery backup for your home and you're just kind of going off of name brands, right? And you don't really know the difference. Well, I think this battery probably does the same as this battery. It's a top branded name battery. But what we're going to be actually looking at is the difference between nickel, magnesium, cobalt, NMC, versus the type of chemistry called lithium iron phosphate, also known as LifePo number 4. So on the three difference is, when you are looking at battery systems, you're going to be able to pull up a spec sheet or a data sheet, whatever you call them, and kind of get an idea on what kind of chemistry this battery is actually using. Now, when you're looking at the batteries, there's going to be three pretty much main differences between, say, a nickel, magnesium, cobalt battery, which is kind of like the earlier stages of the Tesla Powerwalls, or even like a Generac power cell, or other companies that do lithium iron phosphate, like Storz battery, Home Grid battery. There's honestly a whole bunch of different companies that do both types of battery. So with nickel, magnesium, cobalt, you're usually going to have as far as an actual lifespan on the battery, it's going to last probably anywhere around 10 to around 12 years. 15 years, you're probably not cycling it that much. And cycling it, what that means is actually going from your battery being 100% down to whatever that percentage is for that cycle. So on nickel, magnesium, cobalt, those things have what they call as a depth of discharge. So like on our car batteries, we have little lead acid batteries that are up in our cars. Unless you're driving an EV car, then you probably got a nickel, magnesium, cobalt, honestly. But on your basic gas car, you've got a little lead acid battery in there. And those things got around a 30% depth of discharge. That means that battery can drain around 30% max before it needs to be recharged again. Then you've got what they call the nickel, magnesium, cobalt. That's going to have a 70% depth of discharge. So if you're looking, at a perfect, a square pretty much, figure that battery is going to be able to go down around 70%, but then that has to be programmed to where you still have a little bit of battery left in there to keep the inverter running and the system running as a whole. So they usually leave around 10% battery. So that means nickel, magnesium, cobalt, you're going to have around a 60% depth of discharge. Now with lithium iron phosphate, on those batteries, you're going to have 100% depth of discharge. So you actually have the full use of the battery, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and program that at 90%. So we keep a little bit of battery juice in there to go ahead and keep the system running as should be in the case of it coming down too low. So that's obviously you've got a lot more power you can use out of one lithium iron phosphate battery compared to a nickel, magnesium, cobalt battery. Longevity. Now, as far as lithium iron phosphate, saying around 10 to 12 years on a nickel, magnesium, cobalt. Now, on a lithium iron phosphate battery, we've actually got a battery with a 25-year warranty, which is kind of unheard of, but these batteries are going to last 20 to 30 years on a lithium iron phosphate batteries. And they actually love to be cycled. So it's different from like our car batteries or NMC. They don't like to be cycled as much. Whereas a lithium iron phosphate, they absolutely love to be cycled. Now, we did explain exactly what a cycle is. So like on the lithium iron phosphate battery, that would be going from 100% down to 90% and then going back up. And that would be considered its one cycle right there. Now, to get through, I'm just going to cut myself off real quick and think. Sure. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Oh, and then the longevity and the cycles, 25 years. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So with the lithium iron phosphate having the 90% depth of discharge, the lifespan. Now, one of the best things about a lithium iron phosphate battery compared to a nickel, magnesium, cobalt battery is the fact that there is zero thermal runaway. Now, what does that mean? Thermal runaway. What that means is it's unlikely to catch fire. Now, that's one of the biggest things.
It's a great thing.
That is. So, I mean, it's crazy because they got all these different rules for batteries in garages and whatnot. And now they're honestly treating every battery as the same. Where our bureaucrats, they don't know the difference between this chemistry and that chemistry. They kind of just put it all the same way, right?
Right.
So if a Segway charger wants to blow up in a garage, they're going to say, okay, this is a battery and this is all the same kind of stuff, when it's not. But so with the lithium iron phosphate, you don't have thermal runaway. So the battery's not going to sit there and catch fire on you. Now, I'm not saying that, nickel, magnesium, cobalt's just going to go ahead and do that on you, but it's not impossible for it to.
But it
And
could.
and it could. And there's been, case after case of it shown. So when a homeowner's actually looking for a battery, and they're doing their, research on it, just I recommend just making sure you're actually getting a lithium iron phosphate battery over a nickel magnesium cobalt, because honestly, you're going to spend around the same price as an NMC battery, but you're going to have a battery that's going to last twice as long, be twice as safe, and handle exactly what you're looking for.
I see signs all the time popping up in my neighborhood. Call us for solar, people knocking on the door. And I know you guys have been around for a long time, and I know you're easy to find. And if something goes wrong, here we are. Is it cost effective for the installer to just put in whatever battery that they have? Or is it, because I wouldn't know to ask. I wouldn't know to be like, hey, I prefer a blah, blah. But
right.
if
And
I'd
that's
listen
where,
to you,
honestly, not, 90% of companies are going to install what they have. That is, I can't lie, one of the biggest benefits of Pure Solar, because you can go buy your equipment online. We'll install it for you. Or, we've got our proven equipment that we've installed over and over again, where we suggest, hey, this is the kind of battery, this is the kind of inverter, these are the kind of panels that you are looking for. Now, when it comes to price, or like what you were just saying, hey, you don't know. Most of these people don't know, right? So when they do have, and that's something different, because we don't door knock, right? And the majority of these solar companies, they do door knock. And they're more of the sales kind of people instead, I'm not saying they're not trying to help you, because they are technically helping you eliminate an electric bill, but they don't really put themselves in that position, I think, of the knowledge base of it. They don't,
right.
They have this equipment they have to sell. So this is the equipment they're going to get to know. Where in my position is I technically can sell anything that produces power, right? So I'm going to take the items that have been proven over and over again, to where that's something that, your regular salesman is not going to bring up, hey, this is what I have. I'm going to give you a Tesla Powerwall. This is what you're going to get. These are our panels. We don't have any kind of other choice. And the homeowners don't know the difference. They're realistically looking at total price and making sure they have these items backed up.
How's it going to look on my house? How much money is it going to save me?
Yep.
And I would not know any questions to ask.
Yeah.
And I'm in sales, so we know that. But I see all, salespeople, they're always, you see ads all the time for sales. But I get stuff sent to me all the time.
Yep.
I could go tomorrow and get a solar job, selling solar, going and knocking on doors. And I've looked into it before, like, oh, this looks cool. Those people that are knocking on your doors, I didn't see an opportunity to get trained. It was get in there, set an appointment, and
that's
pitch
how,
this equipment.
because like when, with Pure Solar, when they're sending someone like me out, right? Biggest difference is they're usually, most companies have a door knocker. So they'll have somebody come knock on your door, not tell you really about solar, but pretty much tell you, have you seen what your utility has done lately? And have you noticed this? And so they're not going to try to get into this, they've been trained to, talk a certain way.
Get the appointment, right?
Exactly. Get to the point, but really they're trying to set that next appointment up for their, their salesman. And that's when their salesman comes over and they make their spiel of their equipment that they use. And one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is to, be at home, get a door knocker, take my solar shirt off. And then I actually do love it, because I love to pick their brain. because I go and I'm like, oh, you guys are into solar, huh? And
Nice.
then I set up usually an appointment with the sales guy, and I love to pick their brain. And usually it's a training moment for the sales guy themselves
Yep.
to come over. Um, because they use one kind of type of equipment. And
Mhm.
even, I know we're talking about battery chemistry here, but in one of our later podcasts, I'm going to talk about the difference between microinverters and inline inverters, and even different series of that. People don't know. Homeowners don't know when they're getting a, like say nickel, magnesium, cobalt battery or lithium iron phosphate. They see a name brand and they see a price. That's what matters, right?
Yep.
And this company's saying, we'll back this up for you with this price and these batteries. The homeowner at that point doesn't care if this battery lasts 5-10 years or it lasts 20 years. They do at the end of after purchasing it, but
Of
at the
course.
beginning of purchase, they're thinking, okay, this is a good price for these many
When you're
batteries.
talking to an expert, right?
Yeah.
These are the experts in solar. They're sitting at your kitchen table and they're telling you
Exactly.
everything you want to hear. Now, fast forward 5 years from now, something goes wrong, and these door knockers, you call them.
They're nowhere to be found. And then what we've seen in the last just year alone, I mean, SunPower, Titan, those are two big people in the business, and even Sunrun getting out of Arizona, why? That the most sun hours in the year. Why would you want to get out of here? And I mean, one of the reasons is, I can't talk on why SunPower and Titan went out, but I've seen a lot of companies start and a lot of companies go under.
Mm-hmm.
And that you price yourself out to lose business, really,
right.
to lose your company, right? And I mean, we've been in business for 50 years, not because we're the cheapest, not because we're the most expensive, but we've done it a certain way for so long. Dealing with off-grid systems, I mean, people do ask all the time, what 50 years? You couldn't have done solar, 40, 30 years ago, let alone we do. We've got actual little 20, 30 watt panels back in the days that don't produce nothing, that are connected, to where we have to change inverting pieces and whatnot. But that's a big difference, is having, somebody actually knowledgeable. One, I think, is, talking to somebody that, is not just a salesman, but just wants to help you with knowledge, is so huge in itself. Which, like I said, with me, I can always, at least anybody gives me a call, I can walk them through anything they want. It doesn't cost them a dime. I could talk to them for 4 hours. I'm not going to, it doesn't matter to me, because they're at least getting some knowledge after talking with me and going, okay, this is what I want now. Instead of having a salesman telling them what you want,
what you need, and what you have to have.
Let the homeowner decide what they want. Hey, this is my home. I'm making this large investment. I want this type of battery because I know this is what it's going to do. You know what? If I want to save money, I'm going to go ahead and go with this battery or this company.
Right.
So,
well, I'm only going to have the house 5 years and I'm going to sell it. So I'm going to do whatever.
Kind of things all happen all the time. So yeah, why not get a cheaper
Yeah.
system at that point? We'll just get the next homeowner to go ahead and have to replace
Upgrade it.
whatever. Right.
It was impressive to me to listen to you name off these batteries and know exactly what they do and what is best with no notes. You had no notes and you were just like, so it's, to have somebody that knows very little about solar. Like I said, sun hits the panel, panel makes house go. So it just, to know you have options. And even if you need to go with somebody cheaper, I get that. It's, it's,
exactly.
we do it, but know your options. Yeah.
And even when, because most companies, they wouldn't sit there and take the other person's proposal and probably, praise it. They're going to go, oh, I can do this for you better. Right. Realistically, you want to know what you're getting, know if it's a right kind of system, and like said, in our next segment, we're going to get into it, but like even the inline inverters and microinverters, you're talking about 2 lifespans. I mean, microinverters have 25-year warranties, going to last 30 to 60 years. Inline inverter is going to be dead about by year 15, right? So those are so many different things for homeowners to weigh when it comes to solar, but that's why I'm also in love with solar. I'm passionate about it, but this is, what I do, where most homeowners, they have their own lives. They have their own things going on. Yeah. This isn't their job. They want a system that's going to work and make their bills cheaper. Right. So,
but know the questions to ask.
Exactly.
Know that you have options when it comes to batteries.
Exactly.
Know which one can catch fire.
Yeah.
Not this will catch fire, but it could.
It could. Exactly.
It could. We've seen all the videos.
A wall mount and a floor mounted battery too, right? Hey, I don't want anything on my, drywall. I don't trust my truss or whatever. Okay, there's so many options for literally everything. People that don't think they could get solar, right? Because I don't want it on my roof. Do a carport. There's so many options out there. So.
Now let's pretend that I went with Joe's solar guy because I saw his sign and it was on my street corner, or some nice fella came and knocked on my door, and so I just went with whatever. Is it too late to call you guys and say, hey, can you just take a look at this and tell me that I made a right choice, or I'm not going to catch fire?
At least, it's never too late to, even if you've had your system for 3 years, at least, we here at Pure Solar, we can even explain your system and set your expectations for you, right? Okay, this is the system you bought. These are the kilowatt hours, or this is what you were trying to offset. This is realistically what your system should be doing. And that's a lot of what we actually do, is work with so many different clients that have gotten solar in the past, to where they don't have their solar company to call anymore. So they don't have a go-to. If they need a panel replaced, they can go ahead and call that panel company. But that panel company's, they can't go ahead and install that panel.
So here you go.
Yeah, there's your new panel. Go ahead and figure it, right? So that's where one of the, proudest things of working for this company is that we can, help. Literally that word right there, help so many people that don't have the help, that can't go to another company, that, like I said, even bought their own system off of Costco or whatever. I just want to figure out how to back up this fridge.
Yeah.
We can help in, whether it's a $150, little job or a $150,000 job, we've got it all. So
I can just see me out there holding the ladder while my husband's up there trying to install this panel.
Yeah, right.
I watched a YouTube video. I know how to do it. Hold the ladder.
And that's a lot of people too, because they look at the price on things and go, I'm one of those guys though myself. I look at I'm like, shoot, can I do this? Solar something though. I've been on with the install crews plenty of times. I give these guys a lot of credit. They know what they're doing, and programming these hybrid systems, that's a whole nother game right there too. So
I can barely program my air conditioner. I was like, why is my heater coming on?
Nowadays, no kidding. Yeah. Huh?
I'm like,
I got one of those
like
Alexa
Siri
thermostats in there.
Alexa,
to this. What the?
Why am I sweating?
Right?
So if somebody is gotten themselves in a jam, or they just want to talk to you, what do they do? How do they get a hold of you?
So they can just Google us. I know when we say Pure Solar and Electrical, a lot of people probably hear the word Pure, P-U-R-E, but it's actually Pure Solar is based off of Purington, because we were Purington Electrical when we first started 50 years ago. And that's the owner of the company, is Travis Purington. So we're changed it to Pure Solar and Electrical. It was about 27 years ago now. But they can just Google us, whether you just Google PUR Solar. Or they can also give us a call.
Hold on as he looks up his phone number. See?
Because I've always got my number. Let's do this.
I'm just going to give everybody your cell phone number, Ken.
Or they can go ahead and call 928-788-0285. And that'll reach you to one of our beautiful people in the office, most likely Stacy. She's my favorite. Shout out to Stacy real quick.
What up, Stacy?
Heck yes. And but yeah, so, and like I said, if they have just any questions on their existing system or their future, if they're not even thinking about doing it now, maybe they're building a home, that's something else I can help them out with. I can put a 3D design together for their home off of plans where they haven't even seen a 3D design of their home yet. So many things we can do for them.
That's not a bad idea, because how many of us, I like the idea of solar, but I don't really want it to be seen, but I'm getting ready to build a house. I'm going to call you and say, help me design this to where. I take
those plans, put it in my software. I show you a full 3D view around your house and everything that you would need to see. So
excellent. All right. Well, now that I'm a so-called expert on batteries, which never will be, I'll just call Kent. He's going to explain them all to me. So
yes, call Kent, the solar savant, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
See you guys next time.
All right. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time on Empower Prep Unplugged. This is Kent Phillips. Talk to you soon.